What happens when a royal title isn't inherited but must be earned? The Princess Royal title, held for life, is granted only by the reigning monarch. Princess Anne has upheld it with unmatched dedication, but as the monarchy evolves under King Charles III, its future remains uncertain. Will Princess Charlotte inherit it, or will tradition take a new turn? How does this decision fit into the monarchy's modern vision? What does it mean for the next generation of royals? Let's delve into details. The royal family had gathered at Sandringham House, a setting known for tradition, but this meeting was anything but ordinary. Typically, Sandringham was a place for family holidays and private discussions. Yet this time, there was an air of curiosity and anticipation. Princess Anne, known for her unwavering commitment to royal duties, had called for a private meeting with senior royals. Those in attendance included King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Catherine, along with other senior members of the royal household. The purpose of the gathering remained unclear, and speculation quickly spread among those present. For decades, Princess Anne had been a symbol of resilience and dedication within the monarchy. Unlike some of her royal counterparts, she had never courted controversy, nor sought the spotlight for personal matters. Instead, she had carved out a reputation as one of the hardest-working royals, often completing more engagements per year than any other member of the family. In the year 2022 alone, she had attended over 200 engagements, surpassing both her older brother, now King Charles III, and even the younger generation of royals. This tireless work ethic had earned her the respect of the British public, as well as recognition for her unwavering service to the monarchy. Despite her commitment to royal duties, Anne had largely remained out of succession discussions. As the second child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, she had been born at a time when male primogeniture dictated the line of succession. Though she was once third in line to the throne at birth in the year 1950, the birth of her younger brothers, Prince Andrew in 1960 and Prince Edward in 1964, pushed her further down the line. Over the years, her position had continued to shift as the next generation of royals was born. But this had never deterred her from embracing her responsibilities. One of the most defining moments in Anne's life came in the year 1987, when her mother, Queen Elizabeth II, granted her the title of Princess Royal. Unlike other royal titles, the designation of Princess Royal is not hereditary. It is an honorary title, reserved for the eldest daughter of the reigning monarch, and is only given at the sovereign's discretion. Furthermore, the title is held for life, meaning that even when a new monarch ascends the throne, the Princess Royal does not automatically change. This makes it one of the most exclusive and enduring distinctions within the British royal family. The origins of the title date back to the 17th century when King Charles I established it in the year 1642. Inspired by the French title Madame Royale, which was traditionally given to the eldest daughter of the French king, the British version was intended to bestow special recognition upon the monarch's eldest daughter. Over nearly 400 years, only 7 women in British history have held the title, each leaving a unique mark on the monarchy. The first to hold the title was Princess Mary, the daughter of King George II. She was granted the title in the year 1735 and later became the Princess of Orange following her marriage to the Prince of Orange in the Netherlands. Another notable holder of the title was Princess Victoria, the eldest daughter of Queen Victoria. She received the title in the year 1841 and later became the German Empress through her marriage to Frederick III of Germany. These past figures set a precedent of duty and service, reinforcing the title's historical significance. Princess Anne, the current holder, has arguably redefined the role for the modern age. Unlike her predecessors, who were often more ceremonial figures, she has taken a hands-on approach to her responsibilities. Through her extensive charity work, her dedication to the armed forces, and her commitment to international diplomacy, she has set a new standard for what it means to be the Princess Royal. Many see her as one of the monarchy's most indispensable figures, a royal who has dedicated her life to service without distraction. As the royal family continues to evolve under King Charles III, questions naturally arise about the future of this prestigious title. Given that the title is not automatically passed down, it remains uncertain who will one day receive it. This brings attention to the next generation of royals, particularly Princess Charlotte, the eldest daughter of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Born on the 22nd of May 2015, Princess Charlotte has already gained public admiration for her poise and confidence in royal engagements. Unlike previous generations, where younger brothers would have taken precedence over their older sisters, the introduction of the Succession to the Crown Act in the year 2013 ensured that gender no longer affected the order of succession. As a result, Charlotte remains third in line to the throne, behind her father, Prince William, and her older brother, Prince George. Although she is still young, many royal observers speculate that Charlotte could one day be considered for the title of Princess Royal. Given her high placement in the line of succession and her increasing public presence, she fits the traditional criteria. However, because the title is granted at the discretion of the reigning monarch, its future remains uncertain. King Charles III would have the authority to bestow the title upon his granddaughter when the time comes, but only once the title is vacated by Princess Anne. Another potential contender, though less widely discussed, is Lady Louise Windsor, the daughter of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. While Louise has largely stayed out of the public eye, she has been described as an intelligent and poised young woman who bears a striking resemblance to her late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Some royal commentators believe that if the monarchy sought to elevate a non-core member of the family, Louise could be considered. However, given King Charles III's vision of a streamlined royal family, such a move appears unlikely. As the meeting at Sandringham continued, Princess Anne's words carried weight. She was not one to make statements lightly, and those present understood that whatever she was about to say would have significant implications. While there had been no official discussions regarding the next Princess Royal, her legacy was something she had undoubtedly considered. She had dedicated her life to the monarchy, and ensuring its stability remained a top priority. Her voice remained steady as she addressed the family, discussing the importance of maintaining royal traditions while adapting to modern expectations. She had no plans to retire, this much was certain. In past interviews, she had stated firmly that stepping away from royal duties was not an option for her. She intended to serve for as long as she was physically able. And while the Princess Royal title was hers for life, she acknowledged that the future of the monarchy required careful planning. The weight of history, duty, and legacy loomed large as the conversation unfolded. The decision of who would eventually inherit the title was not one to be made lightly, and it was not a matter that would be resolved overnight. For now, the title remained in Anne's capable hands. But as the next generation of royals took their place on the world stage, discussions about tradition and the monarchy's future would continue. Princess Anne had long understood the weight of the title she carried. Unlike most other royal titles, which followed a clear line of inheritance, the Princess Royal distinction was different. It was not simply passed from mother to daughter, nor was it given automatically upon the birth of the eldest daughter of a monarch. Instead, it had to be bestowed as an honor, a decision made solely by the reigning king or queen. This made it one of the most exclusive designations in the royal family, granted only to those who had demonstrated unwavering commitment to their role. The origins of the title dated back to the 17th century, introduced by King Charles I in 1642. At the time, the English court often looked to European monarchies for inspiration, borrowing traditions that would reinforce royal prestige. One such tradition was the French title of Madame Royale, a designation reserved for the eldest daughter of the French king. It was a title that signified rank, privilege, and duty, and King Charles I saw value in introducing a similar distinction to the English royal family. His own daughter, Princess Mary, became the first to hold the title, setting a precedent that would endure for nearly 4 centuries. Throughout history, the title of Princess Royal was not always in use. Unlike the Prince of Wales title, which was consistently passed to the heir apparent, the Princess Royal designation was granted sparingly. This was because it was not hereditary, meaning that even if the monarch had an eldest daughter, the title would not be given unless the king or queen saw fit. Additionally, because the title was held for life, there were often long gaps between appointments. In some cases, generations would pass without a Princess Royal, as the previous holder retained the title until her passing. Only 7 women in British history had been granted the title, each bringing their own approach to the role. Some had been symbols of diplomacy, Others had remained deeply involved in charitable work, and a few had even married into foreign royal houses, strengthening ties between Britain and other European nations. The most recent holder before Princess Anne was her great-aunt Princess Mary, the daughter of King George V. Born in 1897, Mary was a figure of immense discipline and duty, serving in the British Red Cross during the First World War and becoming an active patron of numerous charitable organizations. She carried the title until her passing in 1965, leaving it vacant for over 20 years, until Queen Elizabeth II decided to bestow it upon Anne. By the time Anne received the title in 1987, she had already proven herself to be an exceptional royal. Unlike many of her predecessors, who had played largely ceremonial roles, she had taken a far more hands-on approach to royal service. While some members of the royal family had distanced themselves from the rigorous demands of public duty, Anne had fully embraced it. From a young age, she had understood the importance of responsibility, shaped by the example of her parents. Queen Elizabeth II had been a pillar of stability for the monarchy, embodying a sense of duty that never wavered throughout her 70-year reign. Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, had been equally committed, carrying out thousands of engagements in support of Britain and the Commonwealth. From them, Anne inherited a work ethic that set her apart. She never sought attention or prestige. Her focus was always on the work itself. Over the decades, she built an impressive portfolio of charitable commitments, supporting over 300 organizations, ranging from health and education initiatives to military and equestrian causes. Her passion for equestrianism became a defining aspect of her public image. Unlike many royals who engaged in sports as a pastime, Anne pursued it at an elite level, representing Britain in the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. She was the first member of the British royal family to compete in the Olympics, an achievement that showcased her dedication and perseverance. Even after retiring from competitive riding, she remained heavily involved in equestrian events, serving as president of the British Olympic Association and supporting the development of equestrian sports worldwide. Despite her achievements, Anne never allowed personal accomplishments to overshadow her sense of duty. She was often referred to as the hardest-working royal, frequently carrying out more engagements than her brothers and younger relatives. Her approach was direct and pragmatic. She saw royal duties as a job, one that required consistency and discipline. Unlike other members of the family, who sometimes struggled with the pressures of public life, Anne never seemed affected by the media's scrutiny. She had little patience for unnecessary pomp and ceremony, focusing instead on the responsibilities she had pledged to uphold. Her tenure as Princess Royal had solidified her as one of the most respected members of the royal family. However, as she entered her 70s, questions about the future of the title began to emerge. The royal family had undergone significant changes in recent years, particularly following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. King Charles III had taken the throne with a clear vision to modernize the monarchy and streamline its operations. His approach was centered on efficiency, focusing on a core group of working royals who could sustain the institution in the years to come. Under this new model, emphasis was placed on the immediate line of succession: King Charles III himself, his eldest son Prince William, and William's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. This shift meant that other members of the royal family, including Anne's younger brothers, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, were given reduced public roles. The same applied to Prince Harry, who, along with his wife Meghan Markle, stepped back from royal duties in 2020, choosing to build a private life outside the monarchy. With the monarchy adapting to a changing world, it became clear that traditions like the Princess Royal title would have to evolve as well. While Anne continued to carry the title with distinction, discussions naturally arose about who might one day receive the honor. There was no immediate urgency. Anne had made it clear that she had no intention of stepping away from her responsibilities, but the long-term stability of the monarchy required forward planning. Princess Charlotte was seen as the most likely candidate. As the eldest daughter of Prince William, she fit the historical criteria of being the firstborn daughter of a future king. Unlike Anne, who had been overshadowed in the line of succession by her younger brothers, Charlotte had been protected by changes in the law that ensured gender no longer dictated succession rights. This placed her in a strong position to inherit the title when the time came. However, succession to the title was not automatic. King Charles III, or potentially Prince William in the future, would have to make the decision to grant the title. This was a matter of both tradition and strategy. While Charlotte was the obvious choice based on lineage, the role required more than just birthright. It demanded the same level of dedication and service that Anne had demonstrated throughout her life. As Anne reflected on her own journey, she understood that titles were not simply honors, they were responsibilities. The Princess Royal title carried expectations, and whoever held it in the future would need to embody the principles of duty, resilience, and unwavering commitment. There was no certainty as to when the title would pass to another, nor was there any urgency to make such a decision immediately. But one thing was clear: whoever inherited the title would have to prove they were worthy of carrying its legacy forward. Princess Anne had always understood that titles within the monarchy were more than just ceremonial honors. They carried weight, responsibility, and a deep-rooted connection to history. While the Princess Royal title had been a part of the British monarchy for centuries, it was never automatically passed down. Instead, it was bestowed upon those who had demonstrated the qualities required to uphold its legacy. That was what made discussions about its future particularly significant. With the royal family transitioning into a new era under King Charles III, the question of who would eventually receive the title was a matter of both tradition and strategic planning. Among the potential candidates, Princess Charlotte stood out as the most logical choice. As the eldest daughter of Prince William and Catherine, she was positioned at the heart of the modern royal family. Since birth, she had been in the public eye, attending major royal events and growing into her role as a key member of the next generation. Unlike previous generations, in which younger male siblings would have overtaken their older sisters in the line of succession, Charlotte's place remained unchanged thanks to the Succession to the Crown Act of 2013. This historic shift ensured that gender no longer dictated inheritance rights, allowing Charlotte to remain third in line to the throne behind her father and older brother, Prince George. Her presence at royal engagements had already drawn attention to her confidence and natural composure. Whether at Trooping the Color, state funerals, or official celebrations, she exhibited a level of poise that was reminiscent of her great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Observers noted her ability to engage with crowds, maintain a dignified presence, and interact with senior members of the royal family with a sense of familiarity and understanding. While she was still a child, these qualities suggested that she would one day take on a more formal role within the monarchy. Princess Anne had set a precedent for what it meant to be the Princess Royal in the modern era. She had taken the title beyond symbolic significance, dedicating her life to charity, public service, and representing the monarchy both in Britain and internationally. If Charlotte were to inherit the title in the future, she would have a high standard to uphold. However, she would also have the advantage of learning from her great-aunt, observing how to balance tradition with contemporary expectations. Despite Charlotte being the most probable future Princess Royal, she was not the only potential contender. Another name that occasionally surfaced in discussions was Lady Louise Windsor, the daughter of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Unlike Charlotte, who had been in the public spotlight since birth, Lady Louise had been raised with relative privacy. She was known for her quiet nature and strong bond with her grandparents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Many royal commentators had noted her resemblance to the late Queen, not only in appearance but also in demeanor. She carried herself with a quiet elegance that had drawn admiration from those who followed the royal family closely. Louise also shared Princess Anne's passion for equestrian sports, which had been a defining aspect of Anne's public life. She had taken part in carriage driving competitions, a sport that her grandfather, Prince Philip, had championed for years. This connection to tradition and her composed nature made her a compelling figure, though her path within the royal family remained uncertain. Given that King Charles III's vision for a streamlined monarchy focused primarily on the direct heirs, Louise's role in the future of the royal family was less defined than Charlotte's. While she could potentially take on more royal responsibilities, it was unclear whether she would be given a title as significant as Princess Royal. Another name that sometimes appeared in discussions though more as a theoretical possibility than a likely candidate, was Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, the daughter of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Named after Queen Elizabeth II's childhood nickname, Lilibet was born in the United States and had been raised outside the framework of the British royal institution. Unlike Charlotte and Louise, she had not been present at official royal engagements and had little direct involvement with the monarchy. However, because she was the daughter of a prince and remained in the line of succession, some questioned whether she might ever play a role in the royal family's future. The likelihood of Lilibet ever receiving the title of Princess Royal was slim. The circumstances surrounding her parents' departure from royal duties in 2020 had created a significant divide between them and the rest of the family. Since stepping back, Harry and Meghan had established their own path, focusing on independent projects and philanthropy outside of the royal structure. This distance made it highly unlikely that Lilibet would be considered for such an exclusive royal honor. Additionally, the Princess Royal title had traditionally been given to daughters who were actively involved in royal duties, something that did not align with the lifestyle her parents had chosen. As the royal family looked toward the future, the focus remained on continuity and stability. The monarchy had endured for centuries by carefully balancing tradition with evolution. While discussions about the Princess Royal title's future were not immediate, they would eventually become relevant as the younger generation grew into their roles. Princess Charlotte's position within the royal family made her the most suitable candidate, and should the title eventually pass to her, it would be in keeping with the history and significance of the role. For now, the title remained in Princess Anne's hands, carried with the same level of dedication that had defined her public life for decades. She had shown that being Princess Royal was about more than just holding a prestigious title. It was about service, resilience, and commitment. Whoever held it next would need to demonstrate the same values, ensuring that the tradition remained as meaningful in the future as it had been throughout history. The future of the monarchy was being shaped by decisions made at the highest levels. King Charles III had taken the throne with a vision of modernizing the royal institution, ensuring it remained relevant in an era where public perception played a crucial role in its survival. Unlike previous generations, where the monarchy was largely untouchable, the royal family now existed under constant scrutiny. Every action, decision, and title granted carried symbolic weight, making discussions about succession and roles within the family more significant than ever. Princess Anne had never been one to dwell on speculation or politics within the monarchy. Her approach had always been straightforward: duty first, personal matters second. But even she understood that the royal family was evolving in ways that required careful planning. With a growing emphasis on a streamlined monarchy, fewer members of the family were expected to carry out official duties. This shift had been a defining aspect of King Charles III's reign so far, and it was a significant departure from how things had been during Queen Elizabeth II's time. The late Queen had relied on a broader circle of working royals, delegating responsibilities across multiple family members. In contrast, Charles had placed his focus on the direct line of succession, centering attention on himself, Prince William and William's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Other family members, including Prince Edward, Princess Anne, and even Prince Andrew, had seen their roles adjusted in varying degrees. While Anne remained one of the most active royals due to her dedication, the broader strategy was clear. The monarchy was consolidating its efforts around the heirs, reducing the number of working royals to ensure sustainability in the long run. This approach was both practical and necessary in the eyes of royal advisors. Public attitudes toward the monarchy had shifted dramatically over the years. While there was still a strong base of support, there was also growing scrutiny over the cost of maintaining a large royal household. Calls for transparency and efficiency had led to conversations about how the monarchy should function in the 21st century. By narrowing its focus to the core members of the family, King Charles III aimed to create a monarchy that was both financially responsible and publicly accepted. However, this shift also created tensions. While Princess Anne had no complaints about continuing her work, other royals had not adjusted as smoothly. Prince Andrew's removal from public duties following serious allegations had caused significant strain within the family. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's decision to step back from royal life and relocate to the United States had widened the divide even further. These departures left a noticeable gap, raising questions about who would take on the responsibilities left behind. The streamlined monarchy model also meant that traditions like the Princess Royal title had to be considered within this framework. If only a select group of royals were expected to take on official duties, it was likely that any future title appointments would be made with that in mind. For now, Princess Anne continued to carry the title with distinction, but as the monarchy moved into a new phase, discussions about who would eventually inherit it would have to align with this modernized vision. The monarchy had always been an institution built on tradition, yet it had also evolved with the times, adapting to societal changes while maintaining its core values. As King Charles III continued to shape the modern royal family, one of the key aspects under consideration was how historical titles would be preserved in a streamlined monarchy. With fewer working royals and a greater focus on direct heirs, the question of how roles like the Princess Royal title would fit into this new structure remained unanswered. While Princess Anne remained fully committed to her duties, the long-term future of the title depended on the monarchy's ability to balance tradition with practicality. Princess Charlotte, as the eldest daughter of Prince William, was the most likely candidate for the title when the time came. However, this would not be an automatic process. The title of Princess Royal had always been granted at the discretion of the monarch, and it was not a certainty that Charlotte would receive it. While she was being raised with an awareness of her royal responsibilities, she was also growing up in a time when expectations for the royal family were shifting. Public opinion on the monarchy had become more complex, with some viewing the institution as outdated, while others still valued its presence as a symbol of national continuity. For Charlotte, the path ahead was not yet defined. Her father, Prince William, had always expressed a desire to give his children as normal a childhood as possible, despite their positions in the line of succession. Alongside Catherine, he had made efforts to ensure that George, Charlotte, and Louis experienced life outside of the constraints of royal protocol. They attended school with non-royal classmates, engaged in everyday activities, and were shielded from the pressures that had once defined royal childhoods. However, there was an understanding that as they grew older, their roles would gradually become more defined. The role of women in the monarchy had also evolved significantly. In previous centuries, daughters of monarchs had been married off to foreign royalty to strengthen alliances. Today, they played an integral role in representing the crown within the United Kingdom and internationally. Queen Elizabeth II had set a precedent for a female monarch leading the nation for decades, and Princess Anne had further demonstrated that royal women could carry out their duties with just as much commitment and independence as their male counterparts. Charlotte, if she were to inherit the Princess Royal title, would be expected to follow in that tradition, contributing to the monarchy through public service and charitable work. Looking ahead, the monarchy would continue to walk the line between preserving its deep-rooted traditions and adapting to the expectations of a changing world. Titles like Princess Royal carried historical significance, but their relevance depended on how they were used in the present. If Charlotte eventually received the title, it would be a continuation of the legacy that had been upheld for centuries. Whether she or another royal would be granted the honor, the decision would reflect not just the weight of tradition, but the vision of the monarchy's future. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.